How's it going? Doing all right?
Yes, sir. I'm good, man. Just
Good.
glad.
Well, hey, I haven't talked to you in a while. I want to talk to you about your jump shot a little bit and stuff, though. How comfortable are you feeling right now with the adjustments you've made?
I feel real comfortable. Um, I just work every week shooting jumpers and just trying to get more comfortable every time, and just trying to help my team whichever way I can.
How different is your jump shot to you right now? How different does it feel from the past year?
It feels a lot different. I changed the location of where I shoot the ball from. Before I used to have a pocket right in front of my face. I tend to put it to the side now. Uh, I've been working on getting my thumb out here all summer. I was heavy shooter before. I'm better on that. Sometimes I tend to sneak up and use it every now and then, but definitely got better on. It's all about confidence. Shooting is confidence. If you work on what you work on past 2 years, I was working on, and it showed through my game. Just working on it this year built a lot of confidence. But still staying within who I am, but at the same time, just trying to expand my game.
Who worked with you primarily on that? What work went into that one with who?
All of the coaching staff, but me, Dallas Cameron, Coach Cunningham, um, Coach B, Coach KP since my freshman year helped, so just all of the coaching staff, so it's it's a collective effort. They all try to help us get better.
Is it 3 point wise too? How different does that feel knowing that you could hit threes before, but now it's a little more consistent? Does that feel more consistent to you from 3 point range?
Yeah, it does. Especially in the past. If you really just look at the statistics, I really didn't take that much. And going by just who I am, trying to get to the lane and stuff. So I'm just trying to continue what I'm doing, not trying to force it, and not trying to prove anything to anybody, but just whenever it's there, just take it.
Was your shot kind of what you heard from NBA scouts when you kind of went through that process, kind of getting evaluated a little bit?
Uh, nah, not really. Nobody's looking to draft me off of scoring in the league and stuff like that. People are looking to draft me off of me being a utility player, being an all-around player. What translates to the game, especially from college to the NBA, there's two big things: is rebounds and assists. Those two things translate big time, and also defense, which I feel like those three things I have high strengths in. So it's just other little things that I could help boost me up or whatever you want to call it. But I already know what type of player I am and what I'm trying to become to go to the next level. So, scoring isn't what the NBA is looking at me for at all.
Awesome. Thanks, Ice.
The next question will come from Frank Bonner. Go ahead, Frank.
Hey, Ice, you guys had a pretty hot start last season and then, ran into some trouble at the start of conference play. How much of that experience last year has prepared this year's group to, not fall in that same cycle?
Um, I feel like a lot of things in some ways, even though we don't discuss it, but you can see in the coaches the way that they coach and they know how early success could be detrimental to a team because we went through it last year. Now you can't ask the young freshman guys that have a lot of success in high school, you can't expect them to understand. Some things you gotta go through, you gotta learn by experience, which I did. I learned by experience. So all I can try to do is try to implement to them how important it is that we focus and keep going hard and not get caught up in early success because it can catch up to you. And at any second you can be that team going downhill and be the bottom team in the country, and at any second you can be the hottest team in the country. You just want to be consistent every day. That's what it's about.
And then after the Oakland win, you talked about how you were happy why the young guys weren't necessarily happy with the win in terms of, you said when your freshman year, you may have come in thinking you should have blown this team out and so on. Looking at the way you guys have had to grind out against ORU and Oakland, how much of that is a testament to let these young guys know that, every game is going to be a battle?
I mean, it just lets them know that you can't take anybody for granted. There's talented players everywhere. Everyone that's playing D1 basketball is talented. There's guys that they know personally that's not at a D1 level that they know can play at a D1 level. So you can never take any team for granted. Also, whenever people are putting, especially from high school to college, you realize college coaches are putting together schemes and all types of strategies to go against certain players. And, it's just something that you didn't have in high school. High school coaches didn't spend hours and hours and hours of film, strategizing for the next game the way that they do at this level. So I feel as if they didn't understand that part. But one thing they did understand is how to go out there, play, and find a will to win. That's why I'm most proud of them of finding ways to win late, which is a good lesson to learn right now instead of blowing every team out by 20 or 30.
I appreciate you.
The next question come from Robert Allen. Go ahead, Robert.
Hey, Isaac, everybody kind of looks at a season as a process, and they kind of have a feeling of how it's going to go. At this stage, has this kind of gone how you thought it would go at this stage?
Honestly, I'm really.
Or are you one of those people that doesn't think that way?
Yeah, I was gonna say honestly, I'm not one of those guys that think that way. Like, I know some people say this, but I literally take every day one by one. I don't wake up worrying about the next day. So literally today I've been worried about practice. Tomorrow I'll be worried about practice, and then Saturday I'll think about the game. That's what it is. I gotta live every day just one step at a time, so I can make sure I'm giving that time my best.
All right, then going day by day, do you like the way this team operates, the chemistry, there are things I'm sure that can get better, but at this stage, is it fair to say this team is doing things the way they should?
Day by day, yes. We getting better. Every day we getting better. But we gotta work on our team discipline defensively and offensively, and then we got some accountability things we gotta work on. But that's what you expect whenever you got a bunch of young guys and a few people that's played. It's part of growing together. That's what is most important. It's part of growing together.
How much do you communicate that? It's coaches is their main job, but you're probably right next to the coaches as far as knowing the way things need to operate.
Yeah, I just try to be that joyful guy. On the court, it might not seem as much on the court. It might not seem like I got too much of a personality, but off the court, these guys, they hear me 24/7. They my guys. So at one point I might be on to them real hard, but the next moment I'm joking and laughing with them. I just want to make it as smooth as possible for them as it can be. Wow.
I hope everybody will bear with me. I got a couple of questions. What's it like on the road during this? How different is it from when you get on a plane, maybe wearing a mask, to the meals and what you're allowed to do and not do in the hotels? How is this different from the past?
For me personally, it's not different at all because I'm the type of guy on the road. I just want to stay in the hotel, sleep, eat, watch film, or watch movies or something, eat, sleep. I got to get a lot of rest. I'm the type of guy that likes to rest a lot. So me being alone in my room, that's fine. But as far as like how they service the food and stuff, yeah, it's a little different. Some places give us different things, limit to how many people at a table, so we might not all just be bunched up at one table. Different things like that. But it's not that much different.
Okay, interesting. Thanks.
The next question is coming from Marshall Scott. Go ahead, Marshall.
Yeah, so you talked about your three-point shooting a little bit earlier, but as a team, you guys, haven't started that hot. You obviously have the personnel to do it. Is it just kind of a shoot mentality, or what do you got to do to get those guys going?
Man, they're great. Everybody on the roster is great shooters. It'll fall in. Some right now is just starting a little rough. You got to get used to the tempo of college, the game speed of college, different things like that. And some players are just, they miss it right now. Same way that they miss it right now, they could be making all day in the next 4 or 5 games. You never know. That's the thing about basketball. It's a funny game, but as long as you just keep working on what you work on, it's going to reward you.
And then this is obviously your last game before Big 12 play. I think Mike told us that you kind of had a message to the guys before the Marquette game. Is there any leadership message that's going to go out before this game and going into Big 12 play?
No special message. No special message, man. I just talk to my guys. That's it. We have honest conversations, and I just keep it real with them. That's why they love me.
What are some of those ways that you are going to keep it real with them moving into Big 12 play?
I just tell them for what it is. I don't try to sugarcoat anything, but at the same time, I give them unbelievable confidence. I'm a high believer in confidence. Confidence will win you a lot of games. I might not be better than another player, But if I think that I'm better than him and I got some physical tools and, you know, you got a grit about you, you can outperform a lot of players that you're not technically better than, as they say. You know, same thing when it comes to teams. I feel like everything, especially in Big 12, comes down to discipline, confidence, and toughness. That's what it is. You know, it's a lot of talent, don't get me wrong, but discipline, toughness, and confidence will win you a lot of games. Those three things.
Appreciate it, guys.
Next question from Chris Becker. Go ahead, Chris.
Hey, Ice, you talked to Frank about grinding out some wins in the second half. You know, maybe point out some things that happened in the first half that of some of these games that have been close, that you guys can maybe work on some fixing to relieve some second half pressure off this team.
It's a lot of just discipline things, also a maturity type thing, you know. In all those games, we've had points where we were up 10 and could have gone up 15, or up 8 and could have gone up 14. But instead of going up, we let it come back down to 2 or back down to 3. You know, those are big points in the game that could be a turning point. Whenever you have a team on the rails, you have to finish, which we just haven't done just yet. But we figured out how to win games, which is a great thing. You know, we have some good games under our belt. We've played on the road in a tough environment. We're about to go play on the road in another tough environment. So we should really get to see what we made of. You know, it's interesting.
Right. And on a different note, I talked last week to Coach Boynton about Eric Pastrana. You know, what does he mean to this program, and you know, what does he mean to you specifically?
Man, EP's everything this Oklahoma State staff embodies. He represents OSU to the fullest. You know, he gives it every day, everything he got. Man, he's watching film for hours. He's scouting. He's working us out in practice. He's getting into practice drills. He's working out downstairs while we in the weight room. You know, it's different things like that. And, you know, no discredit to the other staff. All the other staff, they put in just as much work as anybody, you know. But I feel as if it comes to the standard, the bar that Coach B set, you know. Whenever you have your head coach doing things like that and leading the way, how do you not have everybody else follow? So Coach B set the bar, and everybody else, they measured up to the bar, and they just following what everybody else does, you know, working hard and just getting to it.
Thank you.
The next question, let's go to Daniel Dwyer. Danielle, go ahead.
Hey, Ice, how's it going?
It's going good.
Good. Obviously, you guys are off to a great start. I wanted to talk to you. I mean, we all know your talents, Cade's talents, but this freshman class has a lot of weapons as well. And one of the guys came from here in Oklahoma City, Rondell Walker, and you know, he's had a couple double-digit scoring games. I know preseason-wise during camp, Coach Boynton was saying he was one of your top defenders. But what about him maybe has stood out on both ends of the court for you, not just as a defender, but, you know, he has had some good offensive production so far as well?
He's just one of those guys that plays hard, and the game rewards him. You know, he works out every day. He comes in every day with unbelievable energy, and that's how the game goes. You know, that's how the game goes. And then you see it out there when he's playing. He just plays so hard. You know, it's like, how can the ball not fall in when he shoots it type deal, you know? So it's different things like that. Rondell's a great kid, man. He's a great guy. I feel like Oklahoma State's going to love him. He's going to be a fan favorite for sure.
Awesome. Thank you.
Next question from Jacob Unner. Go ahead, Jacob.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious with the way basketball's kind of evolved to a lot of three-point shooting and things like that. How tough is it to defend the three these days? How difficult is that? Because you guys, you know, the last two games that's been a struggle. OU struggled last night, and their in-state team. How difficult is it to defend the three these times?
You know, at times it is kind of tough because just the way the game has gone from evolve, especially when it comes to different situations, closing out shooters, how much you can really just interfere with a shooter in his jumper, different things like that. But then at the same time, you know, this guys out here being talented enough to step up and make those shots consistent. You know, we got a lot of guys that can step up and shoot consistently. And sometimes whenever a shooter just gets going I mean, you know, y'all seen it plenty of times. Oklahoma State have plenty of great shooters come through here. Whenever they got it going, they got it going. So, you know, I feel like that's what just happened the past 2 games. You know, those guys was very talented, but it also starts a lot with a great shooter. With a great shooter, it also starts a lot with their first initial shot. You know, how does their first shot come? Does it come easy off a wide open catch and shoot, or is it heavily contested? And, you know, different things like that play into effect too.
Does the ability of these bigger guys being able to shoot the 3 really kind of make that challenging too?
Yeah, it does at times, but you know, we have athletic bigs on our team that can get out and guard the perimeter, so it's not really too much of a worry for us.
And back to your shooting earlier too, how tough is it to adjust your mechanics when you're so ingrained with those?
It's not tough at all. You know, if you get up enough reps, as you're supposed to, you can switch your mechanics easily. So, for instance, you've been practicing the wrong mechanics your whole life, so that's the only reason why you shooting it like that. But then if somebody tells you change this, change ABC, and you go in and you change ABC and you're shooting 500 reps or 1,000 reps of ABC every day, you know, it'll change. You know, especially, I mean, everybody's heard about it. Tristan Thompson, he went from a left-hand shooter to a right hand. So it can't be that hard to just change the mechanics a little bit with the same hand.
And one final thing for me, you talked the other night, I think, a little bit about Cade's ability to take over after the Oakland game. But then we really saw it on display against ORU. What do you think of his killer instinct in those moments?
I tend to reflect everything on stuff that don't have to do with necessarily just court stuff. Because I feel like basketball, you know, a lot of off-court things pour in to your performance. So, like I said, he's those same shots he was shooting to seal the game is the same shots he works out on for hours, and he comes in every day in practice, high energy, does the right things. He's about the right things. The game's gonna reward you. You know, the game's gonna reward you. That's all I can say. And then everybody knows his unbelievable talent. You know, talent out the roof, and he's just that guy to me. I love that guy. He's that guy. He's that guy.
Awesome. Thanks, Ice.
Anybody have a last-minute follow-up question for Ice before we let him go? Awesome. Well, thank you, sir. Appreciate you joining us, Ice. We'll be back with Keelan Boone just here shortly.
All right.
We have the one and only Keelan Boone here with us. If you'd like to go ahead and raise your hands to start asking questions. And we will go with Jacob Unruh. Go ahead, Jacob.
Keelan, how's it going today? Oh, I think he's on mute.
You doing good, sir?
Yeah. How about you, Keelan?
I'm doing pretty good, sir.
Good. You don't have to call me sir, by the way. I don't know. That makes me feel a little old here.
My bad. I just love respect.
You're good. I appreciate it. You're good. You know, through the first 5 games, you guys have kind of been on a roll. The other night, you had 12 rebounds again. What do you feel like you're doing so well as a rebounder?
It's just like my attention to detail. I'm always watching the ball. So, like, when it goes up, I usually always fake out my defender because I'm always following the ball. So, as soon as a shot goes up, I'm racing them to the rim. That puts me in better spots of getting long rebounds, and it puts my bigs in better spots to get the rebounds because then I attract some more attention seeing a guy coming full speed from the wing. So that puts pressure on the other bigs, which gives our bigs opportunities to go get the board. So that's what I feel like I'm doing. I feel like I'm taking other players out of the position of just handling me. So that puts my bigs in a better position of getting rebounds too.
I asked Ice this earlier. What difficulties are there in defending the 3 these days with the way teams shoot threes more and more each year?
Well, you're trying to we're still trying to be a solid defender, but like you almost want to dare opponents to make long range threes, but then when you see that hit 1 or 2, now it's time to really like give them pressure, make plays at the rim, of course. And if they make those plays, then we'll adjust as a whole team, but like just on ball, like players are going to make shots from all types of ranges, especially in this time of basketball. It's really predominantly the whole game now is shooting threes. So like we just got to really adjust to it.
You know, you're playing kind of that 3-4 role, kind of inside out. Is it challenging defending those guys too as they go outside, some of those bigger guys?
It's a challenge. It's not really that hard. Like some are more physically gifted than me, but like it's not really that hard. I know how to play defense on a four. I know how to guard the post up. I can guard on around the perimeter. So like I honestly like guarding bigger guys around the perimeter. I want to see what they can do when they put the ball on the ground. So like it doesn't really phase. It's just I'm willing to accept that challenge with guarding bigger guys who like playing the perimeter because I see myself as a bigger guy who plays the perimeter too, and I know what I can do around the perimeter. So I love to see other bigs around the perimeter too.
Awesome. Thanks, Keelan.
Thank you.
Next question from Frank Bonner. Go ahead, Frank.
Hey, Keelan, how are you?
I'm great. How about you?
Doing well. When you're playing, cleanup man on the boards, how much of that helps you ease into the rest of the aspects of the game? Offensively, just finding a rhythm.
Once I get like one offensive rebound, it gives me unbelievable confidence that like I can go grab 5 more of them because like I can see it creates a lot of energy, not just for myself, but for my team. It's almost like a tempo thing. So now I grab one offensive rebound. Now, if we don't get a shot up, now that creates more energy for the defensive side. Then like it keeps adding up. That's how I see the game now. I don't really see it as in like I have to go force up shots now. Once I get one off the rim, teams are going to start guarding it more. Then that will help outside shots, get shots for Cade, get shots for Flav, get shots for me, for the bigs, especially for kickouts off the offensive rebound.
Now, looking at how you guys started the year last year, you started off really hot and you guys ran into some trouble in conference play. How much of that experience will help you guys moving forward in this year, just knowing that you've been through that?
It's going to help a lot, seeing that we have about like 6 returners who played in that type of environment last year. We know a lot of us were freshmen last year, so like we kind of know what to expect now. And Ice, this is his 3rd year. He knows how to handle the situation more. And as sophomores, we're not going for that, especially not a sophomore year. So we kind of know what to do and what to be in certain situations now. And I can say we're like understanding and we're getting a lot of experience early. We're going to get some high level teams. And this upcoming one is going to be a high level team as well. So like we don't take for granted none of the opponents we go against. And I feel like it's all going to trickle down and it's all going to add over to the Big 12 conference.
I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Our next question will come from Marshall Scott. Go ahead, Marshall.
Yeah, Keelan, I think it was the preseason last year. Mike joked that you were a better offensive rebounder than defensive rebounder because you knew that you were going to get a shot afterwards. So I guess like the question is, how much of rebounding is just effort based?
It's all effort. Last year, I just look at it as you do it, you make a play, you get a play. Now I look at it as you get a play, now you make plays for the whole team. It's not so much about me no more because like I know if I rebound, it's helping somebody else get a shot, which helps the team out. Then like all that other stuff with me getting my shots, I don't really focus on that. As long as the team is getting their shots, and it's going to help because I'll get mine sooner or later, and I know what I got to do to help the team. And rebounding is one major thing I know that helps this team out, defensive and offensive. Like from last year, I really never went defensive rebound. I just really ran out, but now I'm really rebounding on the defensive end and offensive end.
Gotcha. And you obviously have the shooters to be a successful 3-point shooting team, but it hasn't really fallen into play yet. What kind of goes into that? And is it almost more frustrating that you see these guys, score 30 points on you mainly from the 3?
It is pretty frustrating seeing like these shooters pop out of nowhere on us. They just pop off on us. But like that's something we got to adjust to. Obviously, we have to be better on the ball. We can't just allow that. We have to be more. We have to guard more and be more physically well. We have to be more. We can't be so easy on letting them get shots. So we have to guard and defend it with all physical and everything. We can't just let them get them off. And that starts on us. It starts on our pride, and we haven't been guarding the best right now. So we're gonna pick up on that the next game.
And then what's it going to take for you guys to kind of get going from three?
Well, obviously being in the gym more, these practices, getting them shots at night, in the morning, just falling in love with it. I'm doing a better job of falling in love with it now, seeing that I'm pulling more of the shots now. So I have to do my part in getting in the gym more. And it's going to fall. Shots, they come in fall as they may. Obviously, my man's Biz last year, he didn't start off best, but started cooking at the end. So, like, we don't really let the ones that don't fall phase us. Is the one that falls that gets us going.
Appreciate it, Keelan.
Thank you.
Next question comes from Robert Allen. Go ahead, Robert.
Yeah, Keelan, nobody knows your game or the history of your game better than Caleb. And so when you have a 12 rebound game and when he sees you paying a little more attention to getting the ball in other guys' hands and so forth, what's he say? Does he shake your head and say, "Who are you now? I don't know you"? Or how's he responded to your new style?
He's like, yo, he's proud that I'm going to the glass every time. It's just the fact that like he sees I'm trying to help the team out. He sees that I'm trying to help everybody else, and it helps. And it just helps scoring the rebound, putting pressure on the glass. So like now, since I'm going, I have instead of having two people go and box me out, I have probably 3 or 4. Then next thing you know, one of our other guards is getting a rebound, so it helps the whole team out.
I asked Ice some of these questions. On the road, how different is it with COVID-19, with the way food is served, traveling on the plane, probably wearing a mask? I mean, how different do you find road trips being now?
It's definitely different. Yeah, there's last year I can tell you there was a different excitement on going on the road, but like now it is more structured. It's more like more hygiene with it now. You got to always wear your mask, always wash your hands, hand sanitize, try to keep feet away from each other at certain places. So it's completely different. But in the game, I can tell you it's the same now. Almost feels like practice just more intense now. So like other than that, there's no more tempo compared to what the guys on the court is doing. There's no crowd tempo. So like it's just a regular game. It's high intensity.
But in the hotel and all that, I mean, it's different, but it's okay.
Yeah, it's all right. I mean, us players, we still vibe with each other. So we're the only ones around each other. So it's not like we really have to quarantine away from each other. We're the only people who are around. So like we still hang out. We're still chopping it up. We're really all that we have. So like we just make the best from each other.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Chris Becker, you have the next question. Go ahead, Chris.
Hey, Keelan, I want to talk to you a little bit about Coach Pastrana. How much has he helped your development these last couple of years?
No, he's really helped me. I remember last year, the shot wasn't falling at all, and I kind of didn't know like my purpose on the team. And he was like, "Stay in the gym, get your shots up, live by playing defense and rebounding." Then he was like, "Everything else adds in." Then I really got in the gym with him, and his coaching style, I just love it. It's like so precise, and he just likes the little details all the time, and I can see my game starting to pick up on the little details, and it really helps over to the big stuff. And he's so well-rounded. He's so good at teaching at all positions. I know some coaches who can only teach guards, and other coaches teach bigs. He teaches all. I just love when I can ask him, "Can I get some help on this? Can we watch film on this?" And he's always open.
You mentioned detail oriented. You know, how important is it to have someone who can focus on the small details and, you know, such a film guru on the coaching staff?
Man, it's love. I mean, every coach is like that. All of our coaches. It's not just him, but like I know I was never big last year on like watching film or like going in and getting exercise, and I really had to get out of my comfort zone. And he's the one who got me out of it. He was like, "Yo, let's get in the gym. Let's do this. Let's come watch film." Then like I can see it. I started going to all the coaches and all the staff members and asking for help, and I can just see he really helped me like kickstart off what I'm doing now. So like I really give a lot of praise to him on that. And he lives by the film. He lives by the gym. That's one person I know. If I call him, yo, let's do this, or let's watch film, it can be 9. He'll be all right, for sure. Let's make something happen. We'll do it on a Zoom call. So like,
Thanks, Keelan.
locked in.
Thanks, Keelan.
Thank you.
And next question from Jacob Broder. Go ahead, Jacob.
Hey, Keelan, kind of curious. MA has been kind of a spark off the bench inside and put back dunks and behind the back because he's going to the basket and things like that. What do you think when you see MA doing all these things at such a quick pace as a freshman?
Like, first of all, yo, he's only a freshman. Second of all, he's crazy good. Like, just he does all that stuff because he does all that stuff in practice. It all trickles down. He rebounds like that every time. He does moves like that, and it always works up because he practiced that on his own. He's a gym rat for real. It's just like when I see him do little stuff like that and make plays like getting an offensive rebound or putback or getting a crazy layup or just getting a nice block, it gives me energy because now I know he's battling on the glass. I'm battling on the glass. He's getting a layup. Now I'm gonna go get mine off the putback. It's like we feed off each other. And like he plays a 4, I played a 3, but like when we're both basically 4. So like we just like I can say me and MA play off each other.
Well, you said he practices like that. So what's a crazy thing he's done that he hasn't done publicly yet?
Oh, when when you guard him 1-on-1 and they space the floor out, he's going to do something spectacular. He's a playmaker. He's really guard like for a 4-man. He's really guard like. So like he's doing guard like moves. He'll go in between the legs behind the back. Next thing you know, he's hitting you with a tough leg. And it's all big man type legs. Like you're not blocking his layups. Or he'll really just if he hit a nice cross on you and you left to the side, he's dunking it. And he's taking the rim down for real. I didn't see him do it. And it's one of these days he's going to do it in the game. And that's really going to kickstart a different MA. It's really going to kickstart something different for him.
You were just a freshman. Did you have that kind of confidence to go and try to pull some of that stuff?
My confidence was really getting an offensive rebound or hitting a 3. Once I hit 1, then like the shooters we had last year was like me, Diz, Lindy. We had Cam even, JL. Shooters we had last year. Once I hit 1, then Diz hitting 1, then I'm hitting 1. Next thing you know, the whole team is just rolling. Or I get an offensive rebound. Then I kick it out, Diz hit a 3. Now we rolling. It just all adds up. So now like bringing that to this year, my sophomore year, I see I hit a 3, bam. Or like I make a tough drive and get towards the cup. Now we're all feeding off the energy. Now it's really just us. We don't have crowd, but now it's really just us now. It's not a big crowd, but now it's just us. So like we feed off each other. That's what I feel like this year is really off of team energy. And that's one thing like I can see we're progressing in.
Awesome. Thanks, Keelan.
Thank you.
Any last questions for Keelan Boone? Thank you for joining us today, Keelan. We'll be right back with Coach Boynton. Appreciate you taking a few minutes for us. Obviously, off to that 5-0 start, 9-game win streak dating back to last season, one of the longest in the country, and taking on a team that is pretty feisty up at Wichita State. We'll let you give us your opening thoughts on taking on Wichita State, and then we'll start taking some questions, Coach.
Yeah, I mean, we're staring right at our biggest challenge of the year so far. Marquette was a different kind of challenge as early as kind of our first guess, prime time game, if you will, against another conference, another Power 5 conference, if you will. But Wichita has been consistently one of the best programs in the country for over a decade now. And although they got a new coach, the culture of that program is pretty entrenched. And they've got guys who've been there, and not lost on me that a few of those guys came in here and physically manhandled us a year ago. And so we expect the same type of physical battle. And I look forward to seeing if we can respond to the challenge.
Your first question will come from Jacob Unruh. Go ahead, Jacob.
Mike, you spoke of last year. Their roster has changed a lot, and they've only played 2 games. How do you grade them on film and prepare for them, knowing that there's so much change?
The truth is, a lot of people's rosters change a lot. Our rosters change a lot. In fact, we only have 4 guys who actually played in that game last year, and they were all freshmen, and they got their butts kicked. And so one of the things that I always take a lot of stock in is programs that can sustain success over a long period of time. And Wichita State has been able to do that. That's what we're trying to do, quite honestly. I don't want to make it seem like a team out of the American is what the standard is, but that type of program consistency of success, regardless of the amount of turnover they have, because the culture is so heavily entrenched in the way they do things. And winning is so important there. I would imagine if not for COVID, this would be a sellout game, and it would be a tremendous environment for us to go play in. So I know Coach Brown's doing a good job under all the circumstances. They still got really good players, a couple of which, like I said, played here and had a lot of success last year. And it'll be a great challenge for us.
One of those players who didn't play was Ice. That was when he was getting sick and stuff. And I know you've talked some about his shot in the previous weeks. But what went into reworking his shot?
Just time. It's one of the few positive things that have come out of COVID and not having access to so many other things that you normally would this summer. But after his freshman year, the plan was to rework his shot, and USA Basketball called. And we thought it was better for him individually to have that experience, to get that exposure. And obviously it was a great success for him. He wins a gold medal, builds a relationship with Cade, who ends up being his college teammate, the whole deal. But part of the sacrifice was we didn't have that time to work on it and spend the time at it that we did this summer. This summer we had a lot more time. We had a longer off season than we've ever had. And he made a committed effort to making sure there was something that wasn't a liability for us. Now, do I expect him to make 100 threes for us? Nope. I don't think he's going to take 100 threes. But what I do expect him to do is shoot the ball with confidence when he has opportunities, and thus far he's done so.
How does that change the way teams defend him when he can shoot like that?
I mean, if Ice is going to shoot, let's just say if he's going to shoot 35% from 3, good luck. Because I don't know how you stop him from getting to the rim if you have to go out, because it's not like he's slow either, right? I mean, he's got a pretty good burst. And then if he gets on top of you physically, he's strong enough, especially against most of the people that will guard him at his position. So, it's a tremendous asset. It's interesting as you look through our numbers through the first 5 games, our floor spacers that start for us, and Keelan and Farron, haven't shot the ball great from 3. And the 2 guys who are questionable shooters in everyone's mind are shooting pretty damn good. And eventually we'll get those other guys shooting well, and it'll make us a more complete team.
Thanks, Mike.
Next question from Frank Bonner. Go ahead, Frank.
And Mike, when you look at the guys who were on last year's team that started hot and then ran into some trouble to start a conference play, how much of that experience allows this year's group to grasp things that you still need to get better in the midst of a winning streak?
That's a good question. I don't know if I can. Ice is really the only one who really grasps that at this point. I mean, those other guys are really still just learning how to get better, period, right? What does coming in to watch film look like? What does, a day off doesn't mean just lounge around and eat Cheetos all day, right? It means just don't come in for practice, watch film, take care of your body, see CAF for treatment, those type of things. So just this is what we're building. It's kind of what I kind of referenced about Wichita State. That's what a program over time establishes. The expectations of preparation, the expectations of no matter how good you're doing, there's always room for growth. And there's certainly things we need to do much better if we're going to continue to have success. So we're not quite there yet, but until we get to that point, it's incumbent upon our staff to make sure we continue to emphasize those things.
And then how much, moving forward, just, talking to, younger guys and even the guys that were coming after these guys, looking at what Keelan has been able to do and inserting himself as a rebounder from his progression from year 1 to year 2, how much of that is a talking point to be like, look, kind of like, look at him, look at how he has progressed when you're talking to your young guys?
Yeah, I mean, Keelan is one of the guys he's got to continue to consistency at this point is what it's about for those guys. We know you've shown flashes of it. But can you do it every game? And can you do it for a full game? Both of Keelan's high rebound games, I think he had almost 10 of his rebounds in the first half. And obviously you don't expect him to get 20, but I'd like to challenge him. Can you get 16? Can you get 17? I mean, don't get 9 in the first half and just 3 in the second half, because either you stopped being as assertive going to the glass or you just started to do other things that aren't necessarily the most beneficial for our team. And so consistency is the next step for them. All those sophomores, that's usually the next phase of their development. First time they just figured out how to be good. How do I even have any success at all? And now they're figuring out how to do it with some consistency, and that's the big step for sophomores.
Thank you, Mike.
The next question will come from Robert Allen. Go ahead, Robert.
Yeah, Coach, I know you've probably been asked this, but I wanted to ask you again the significance of honoring Coach Thompson with the towel. And I noticed now you've got a custom-made model.
Yeah, so when I was a kid, growing up in New York, my dad was a Georgetown basketball fan, and I really didn't know why. We were from New York, they were in DC. I mean, obviously we followed the Big East, but it was pretty important that my dad supported a Black coach who was having success. I mean, there's no other way about it. He was the first Black coach to have the national championship level success, and to do it through the time that he had to do it coming up. In 2005, the first time that I'd ever gone to a Final Four, because unfortunately I didn't play in one, went to St. Louis, and George Raveling, who's one of my mentors, had me go to dinner. At the dinner was John Thompson, George Raveling, John Chaney, and Nolan Richardson. And I felt like I was in the middle of a museum in many ways. And I'm not sure I spoke for about 4 hours. I just listened to stories and just had a great appreciation for what all those guys did, let alone 15 years later that I would be the recipient or the beneficiary of some of the sacrifices that they made. So when Coach Thompson passed, obviously it was a big loss for the Black coaching community, for basketball in general. He was a barrier breaker. He was a guy who raised the bar of expectations of what Black coaches could do. And he is, for sure, undoubtedly, partly responsible for me being where I am today.
Are you getting used to the towel? You might get used to it. You might cling to it forever.
Yeah, I don't know. So much of this year is different, right? Just not only the towel, I'm wearing sneakers. So I've been able to show off my shoe collection for the first couple of weeks, but eventually my wife's going to figure out, like, where the hell are you getting all these shoes from? And that's not going to be a fun conversation to have.
I've asked the two players we've talked to today about the difference of going on the road, the strict rules, the mask, hygiene, being accountable to your teammates and not getting in places you shouldn't get. How different is it to you as a coach?
It's not that different for me. Other than the mask wearing, I don't do anything I don't even know how to describe myself. I'm maybe like the most boring person in the world. So even if it wasn't COVID, I would literally get to a hotel, go to my room, read a book, watch film. I go eat when they tell us it's time to eat and get ready for the game. So not much has changed for me. I do try to exercise. That's the one thing that's different. They're not recommending we go into hotel fitness
Gyms.
centers and stuff like that. So I'm not as in shape as Stephen Howard, so I don't run 12 miles no matter what the weather is and at 5 in the morning, but I do like to exercise. And so that's probably been the biggest adjustment for me.
Thanks, Coach.
You can join me on the run, Coach. No problem.
I'm good. I'm good.
Next question from Marshall Scott.
Yeah, Mike, you kind of alluded to after Tuesday's game that you're going to kind of take a broad look at the team after 5 games. Did that reveal anything that you didn't know, or what are some things that stood out with that?
What I've got to figure out is if we are starting the right group of guys, not that any of those guys shouldn't play, because they all are going to play no matter what, but is that the right group to start the game? And I say that only because not that I expect to run away from anybody, but we haven't had a great flow to start the game. We've kind of started slow in all of the games we played so far. And, maybe something to look at, whether we need to make a tweak to a starting lineup and maybe give somebody another opportunity to give a different look. Coming off the bench is sometimes the best thing that it can happen for a guy. I clearly remember, and I talked to him last night. Thomas Azaga, started for almost 2 years, and about halfway through conference play, we started bringing him off the bench, and he shot the ball much better, saw the game different, wasn't at the top of a scouting report, kind of got lost in the shuffle maybe from the other team's focus, coming off the bench a little bit. And so those are the type of things in general terms that we've looked at, if maybe a small tweak in the lineup, or maybe if a defensive strategy may be something we need to look at, because obviously the three-point thing has stood out for us. Certainly something we got to address.
How difficult can that be to kind of broach that subject with a guy who, has started 5 games now, is thought to be a starter, to say, hey, maybe it's best for you, it's best for the team if you're coming off the bench?
I don't really feel like any conversations are difficult because we communicate so often. So I don't worry about it. I'm honest with them. I tell them whatever decision we make is going to be what's best for our team. I do understand the psychology of it, especially for younger guys, where maybe from the outside they're being told, like, coach doesn't believe in you anymore, or whatever. But we feel like we developed such a strong relationship with each guy that we'll be able to manage that. Because again, it's not like someone's going to go from starting to not playing. Right? Maybe they just don't play the first 2 minutes of the game. But I remember several games last year where this didn't start, but ended up playing more minutes than some games he started in, because the flow of the game kind of dictates how you rotate your players.
Ice mentioned earlier that kind of his job leading into Big 12 play is to just make everybody as confident as possible. Somebody who's kind of, I don't know, seemed to embody that has been Bryce, just with how down his year seemed last year coming out of the junior college ranks. He almost seems like a completely different player. So is that something that you've noticed him kind of grow in confidence, or has he always had that since he's gotten on campus?
He hadn't, but again, I think that's a part of, again, credit to our staff, just the relationship part of it. Like, we try to force feed confidence. I mean, you talk about taking a horse to water, making them drink. We do that with confidence. Like, I tell Ferret all the time, I don't want him to shoot bad shots, but I'm not worried about his shooting percentage. Like, I let other people worry about that. His job for our team is to make shots. If at some point we don't need him shooting the shots that he's taken, he probably doesn't need to play as much. And so I don't want him overthinking things out there on the court. I want him to go out there and have full confidence that he can do the things that he was recruited here for, the things that he came here to help this team accomplish. And that goes for everybody. When I put a kid out there in a game, I don't want them looking over at the bench trying to figure out if I believe in them or not. If I put you in, it's because I think you can help us. And when you're out there, I need you to go focus on your teammates and trying to help them have success while you're out there.
Thanks, Mike.
Next question is coming from Jenny Carlson. Go ahead, Jenny.
Hey, Mike, how are you?
I'm great. Did you get out of the house because the kids are home? Because I do that sometimes too.
No, I had to get out of the house to get a kid to a lesson. So,
Oh.
you know,
I got you.
it's always something. Hey, you were talking about Wichita State and their physicality. Springs to mind a question. I don't think every team has to have the same level of physicality, and I don't know if anybody's asking any